So today's handover video, we're going to be running you through the BM Pro Trek III, powered by the BM-P35-HA charging system underneath the Crusader beds, or alternatively in the CRVs, and it's tucked away in some of our other boots. The board is assembled and fitted off by the team at BM Pro, and today we're going to show you how to get full use out of that system. We're going to start with the storage mode button and then work our way across. So the storage mode switch, although on, actually symbolizes that it's currently off. But sort of on, but not really on, it's off. So, the only way you make it off is you actually flick it on or off. That's the off mode. That's not the off mode. Just very confusing, I suppose. In order to be able to put the van into storage mode, you flick this away. So, off. Normal van use is on. So the way I remember it is, when it's in on position, storage mode's off. When it's off, storage mode's on. This mode here turns the display at the entrance of the van, which we're going to be showing you later on in the tutorial, off, right? So it removes any amp draw from the monitor itself and it puts it into true storage mode. Things that are hardwired to the battery will not turn off, right? Very particular. It will also allow incoming charge as well. So that's like your solar, if you're still outside and you've put the van into storage mode. So right now, you're still going to get sun, you're still going to get 240 volt charge, you're still going to have something coming from a portable Anderson plug, you're still going to be able to hook the car up and give it a quick zap through the DC to DC charger located at the bottom there. It doesn't stop incoming and outgoing load from these particular fittings here, which we'll come to. So really best advice is, if you can keep the batteries charged, I would prefer that if it's going to go in storage. It's just a convenient little button that we've had put in from the team at BM Pro to make it easier rather than going through and turning bits and pieces off. When would you use it? You probably then put the van into a shed, and if you want to have absolutely minimal amperage draw to it, you could turn this off. Or if you want to plug the van into mains power, have incoming charge but have nothing out, you would go click. All right, so put it back on, van ready to use. Next to him is a battery protection switch. This here is the main battery wiring from the battery. So what does it do? So from the top of this lug here at the top, it's incoming power from the battery, down the bottom is outgoing load to the van. So if we press this, everything turns off. Everything, right? Everything. It's like a storage mode button, but it's actually sort of worse in a way. This here is only designed to trip when something's wrong, right? It will only trip when there's a problem. So to avoid that, you don't touch it. Everything's back on. Takes a little bit more time, right? So this guy here will trip, so the bottom part will come out when there's an issue or something going wrong with the battery or a short or something like that. I've never really seen one trip, so it won't be a concern. Some people will say, well then I'll just not use that. I'll just press that because it cuts all load. It cuts all load, but it doesn't allow any incoming load. So if you're going to plug it into 240 and then press that, you're not going to be doing anything. Your batteries are just going to discharge naturally over a period of time, and you're going to have to recharge your batteries before you travel. Or you're going to have to jump start your lithium if you have to. All right, so best to avoid this guy, let him do his thing. He's operating well. Underneath all of this, we have an Odyssey Link 104. These are all of your water tanks at the top. Water tank 1, 2, and 3, provision for a 4th. These are Comlinks cables. Down the bottom we have this green bar, which pulls out, and I don't really know what it does, but we don't utilize it. We have on the side a press to pair button, right? This is probably the most important part of the video, to be completely honest with you. So with my little guy right here, I'm going to find my Odyssey app, right? Odyssey app right there. That's what we want. So jump onto the Play Store or Apple Store and find Odyssey BM Pro. We're going to go on. It's going to ask me to register. I'm not interested in registering because I don't own a van. I only own stock. So we need to try and find the unit. I'm previously paired to a unit, so I need to just quickly unpair him, and then I need to be able to find my unit. He's going to come up like this, so this allows for total autonomy control over the unit, and we need to add a device. So normally it'll prompt you and say, hey, do you want to look for a device? But it didn't, so this time I'm going to go scan and connect, right? So right now it's going to be looking for a Caravan. So while he's looking for a Caravan, he's going to stay there. I'm going to press my press to pair button. When I do that, it's going to be very hard to catch on camera, but when I do that, I'll just move this little lead just for demo. There's a little light just under here, and the little light is very hard to see, but I'll press it at the press to pair button. And if I'm pressing it with my big old fingers, he will turn on, Come on, computer. Yep, there we go. We've pressed him. Oh, look at that. ODL 104. We're on. Bingo. Done. He connects, and we're laughing, and everything works. I've got tank readouts here. I've got percentages. I've got everything I need. But I have to update it. So, I'm not going to do that because you'll be here for an hour and a half because my internet connection is not good. So, that's how you connect your phone to Bluetooth. If you're struggling to get the pair button, you can actually pop this comms link cable out, which the process of doing that is you pull the cable up, there's a little trigger at the back, you press the trigger and you pull up to get the cable out, and then if you pop him back in, like that, it will fire up immediately and then go into comlink pair mode. It will then sync back to the monitor at the front and refresh everything there as well. I'm just going to pop this back in as well for this lovely customer. Now, that's how you pair it all up. On the app, this is very important, on the app, there are lighting zones on it. You'll see light zone 1, light zone 2, and light zone 3. Do not use them, do not touch them, do not press them. If you press them, you will disable sections of the Caravan and won't be able to use them. So just for clarity on this, as we go through it, and I describe as best I can and decipher through my numerous Caravan photos that I have for my whole dealings with Crusader, these pins just here are all of your positive inputs, right? And on one particular area, this is a quick little diagram. Number 10, 11, and 12 are light 1, 2, and 3. They are lighting zones 1, 2, and 3. 10, 11, and 12 is empty. We do not utilize 12. If you press lighting zone 1 off, you will disable whatever this is hooked up to. If you press lighting zone 2 off, you will disable whatever this is hooked up to. Do not use the lighting zone 1, 2, or 3 buttons. If you do, you will lose 12 volt in that particular area and won't have a clue as to why you've just done it. Pump number 13 and 14 are our pumps 1 and 2 when utilized. In all vans, pump 1 is definitely utilized and allows you to trigger switch it on. Again, from our app, right? So swap up. You've got eco mode, light 1, light 2, light 3, water pump 1, water pump 2, slide in, slide out. If you go to your settings up here, you can actually customize what they're called, and you can remove certain things from view. Slide in, slide out. We don't have slide outs, so you can remove them from your field of vision. I might update as we go through, and then hopefully we'll come back to the unit to just give one little last loop on the units, but that's a pretty great understanding. We've got a QR code just here to give you an in-depth scan for support with all its manuals. All the manuals for this unit are going to be located in the bottom of this description. The Trooper, the big guy, the big Bawana, this guy here is the guy that is going to be putting charge from your vehicle as you drive to the Caravan batteries. This is a mini boost, otherwise known as a DC to DC charger. This guy gets the power as it's coming through. It meets the DC to DC charger, and in my head, because the way I like to do it, it makes sense, is there's a little gerbil inside of this, and as soon as it sees power, it goes, oh, grass, there's power, and it puts more power out than when it went in, right? And it smashes the batteries, 20 amps at a time. So that is fantastic. It's almost essential for any Caravan today with lithium or AGMs, right? The BMP35, it is an MPPT solar controller at 35 amps. It is a battery charger at 35 amps. This is doing your solar, this is doing your car battery, this is doing your 240 charge. This power point up here is the charge unit for your 240 volt, 35 amp charge unit. These are all your negative inputs. These are all your positive inputs that obviously align with one another. That's really it. You don't have to touch this guy. Up the top here we have solar in, solar negative in, right? So that's your solar. By removing this guy here, that is going to be your roof solar. So there's only one solar input, that just clicks back over here. Spade front, spade other front in front of that negative is a portable solar provisional pad. So if you wanted to have an auto electrician or an authorized Caravan service agent install a portable solar panel plug like an Anderson plug, it needs to be an unregulated panel, not a regulated panel, an unregulated panel. You could pop 2 spade connectors in there, run it through the floor, and bang, you've just increased your solar capacity by another 200 watts or whatever you happen to have that portable solar panel plug at. These are all your battery line charges from your Caravan battery as well as circuit breaker unit, and there's a reset button just on the side of this in case the unit starts giving a bit of headache and not just giving the right information back to our Trek 3 display at the top. All of these battery wires run behind this board with a negative bus bar to our batteries. These are two 120 amp lithiums. Everything's shrink wrapped. It's all fitted off nice and easy underneath the bed. They're lightweight units. We try and have minimal wires to the battery as possible. A lot of manufacturers try and amp up the wires without having to run to a bus bar. We like to have one central wire to be able to troubleshoot any disconnects and joins. So the battery output fuses up here located in the glass little box. To get him off, you press this and pull down. Now, there's a lot of talk about shunts, a lot of talk about battery monitoring, a lot of talk about, I don't know what's coming out of my batteries. The team at BM Pro are fantastic. So they've got this large fuse block here that allows for things like radio memory, fridge power, trail safe, gas heater, satellite, things like that. It allows for constant battery power. So when you turn eco mode on the screen up there at the top, your battery icon up the top, when you turn that off to put it sort of to sleep, these items here will not turn off. So they're hardwired. They run through to a monitoring shunt device just located here, and that's going to interpret all of the power that's not running through these inputs through the system. So it's going to know about those drawers. They're a removable fuse. You just pull it out, and it's a glass fuse. Bunnings sell this fantastic pack of different fuses. You can pop a few spares ready to go there. They are inputs that haven't been allocated yet, but typically these are things that are hardwired, such as your trailer safe at the front, your radio memory, your fridge, all of your data, all your bits and pieces, Wi-Fi, stuff that needs to go hardwired to the Caravan battery. That is that whole unit there. And that is pretty much the whole BMP35 unit. Last but not least, we need to show you what the Trek 3 screen looks at, so we'll meet you at the entry door. So we're back at the screen, and I'm going to give you a quick run through of what the Trek screen does. So pretty much what this is it is a monitoring system that is controlled via Bluetooth, so it's picking up the signal from this unit here to our unit under here. If you have a shunt in your Caravan, typically you'd have this on your negative on one of your batteries or the battery. That would interpret that information by a thing called a comms link. Check out the shunt video below if that's applicable to you. If you have an inverter, typically speaking, you're probably going to have a shunt. If you have an upgraded version of a DC to DC charger, you're probably going to have a shunt. Or unless you've requested it as provision, you probably got a shunt. But if you don't, doesn't matter. It's all good. It's just your readout might look a little bit different. So I'm going to press this light button because I want the display to show. Water tanks, water tank 1, 2, 3, and 4. The water tank 3 is empty, although it is a grey, so you're not going to see him here until he gets a little bit of substance in him. Tank 1's full, tank 2's semi-full, and then we have pump switches. So to turn the pump 1 off, you press the water drop button, 1. So we're just turning pump 1 off, right? To turn pump 2 off and on, you hold down the pump button, and it will then turn off, and then we're just using pump 1. So we have our time up the top, although not set. We'll show you how to do that shortly. Discharging the batteries. You have 13 hours remaining at its current amperage. You have 7.2 amps going through the Caravan. So just while we're looking at this display, if I go through and shut a bit of 12 volts off in the Caravan, the amperage will drop, and it will drop depending if it's enough load. I'm just going through and turning bits and pieces off. But typically, as you turn things off, the amperage will drop. You have 13.1 volts in the system currently. And that, my friends, is pretty well it. Down here we've got auxiliary. That is your car input, and your solar input is obviously your sun coming in from the roof off the solar panels, or it is a portable solar panel, as we just mentioned, through an external input, because it's all running through the same interpretation. We have our home button. If you hold down the home button, it gets you into setup, and then you can go through the settings. I suggest not touching them. You can change battery capacities, you can change all that. Please read the manual. Do not play with things you don't know. You go into clock, you can change AM, PM, all that sort of stuff. Otherwise, it's easier on the app. Just press back on the home button to get yourself out of that, and then get you back to square one. We're now at 6 amps after we play with those bits and pieces. So it takes like 1 or 2 seconds just to catch up. And finally, the battery icon up the top. This acts as your mains cutoff. So a lot of manufacturers use a switch by the door. We use this button right here. As soon as you turn it off, the whole Caravan will actually turn off. You press this button, turns back on. So this will not turn off those glass house fuse items, such as your fridge, your radio, your gas heater. If you want to leave those things on and nick off for the day and come back, that is exactly the unit. It won't be turning off those inputs. It will not be turning off the glass fuses. It'll only turn off things like your water pump, your LED lights, your radio itself, but not the memory that contains all the stations, your piezo, your igniter, those bits and pieces. And that, my friends, is the whole demo of the Trek 3 system. It's fantastic on your phone. Sync it up, make it work, and hopefully we'll see you back for the next video. Enjoy, guys.